And welcome to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching coverage of the 2002 Junior League Southern Regional. And today it is the final. One of these two teams will advance on to the Junior League World Series in Taylor, Michigan. I'm Scott Singer along with Kyle Tucker. And it should be a great one today. Two great teams going at it.
You're exactly right, Scott. These two teams actually met earlier in this tournament, I believe on Monday. Cartersville won that game. I'm not exactly sure the score. I think 11 to 7, somewhere along that line. But a good game played by both teams, and I think you have the two best teams in this tournament squaring off in the championship, and that's exactly what you want.
I think you do have the two best teams, and one of the things that really wasn't indicative of Monday's game is the pitching. Both teams were kind of resting their pitching, so you didn't really get a good look. I think you're going to see both aces going head-to-head today.
You make a good point, Scott. You're exactly right. That game Monday, each team came into that one 2-0. They kind of had a game to play with, I guess you could say, and like you said, really didn't throw maybe their number one pitchers and probably their number twos for that matter. So you probably went deep into the pitching staff and probably a more offensive game than we'll see today. And I would expect both aces will be on the mound just as you said, Scott. And it looks like the coaches have broken the meeting. The Cartersville team takes the field and we're ready to get this game underway.
Well, the Hurricanes, the home team today, and they will be in the field. And we take a look at their starting lineup. Barrett Knaps will be out in left field. Benji Farr in center. Jacob Roberts out in right field. At first base for the Canes is Michael Castleberry. Kevin Meredith will be on second. Seth Malden will be at third. Scotty Morris will be at short. Jamie Farr will be behind the plate, and getting the start today is Tyler Gilreath, and he is the ace out of this Hurricane arsenal. And taking a quick look at the Florida batting lineup and leading things off for the team from Lando Lakes, which is just out of the Tampa Bay area, is Jacob Neely. He'll be followed by Danny Sutton, the third baseman. Ricky Howroyd, the catcher, will hit in the 3 spot. Cal Porowski will hit in the 4 spot at cleanup. He is the first baseman. Jeff Bloomer, the pitcher, will hit in the 5 spot. Ross Hughes will hit 6th. He's the left fielder. Jonathan Brewster, the shortstop, will hit in the 7th spot. Eli Jones, the second baseman, will hit 8th. And Wes Fugelsang, the right fielder, will hit in the 9 spot. And that is a look at the order for Lando Lakes. And they're a pretty good team. We should see a really good baseball game today. Both of these teams, it's do or die here. They're moving on. One of them will be moving on to the Junior League World Series in Taylor, Michigan, and what an honor that would be for one of these two teams to get to travel up there.
Sure would, Scott. Probably the biggest moment in these kids, their young athletic careers. Everybody's 13, 14 years old, but without a doubt, probably the biggest baseball game they've ever played. Little League is supposed to be fun, but today there's probably a little more added pressure. You've come this far, and what a thrill it would be to play in the Little League World Series. And like you said, for one of these teams, that dream will come true today.
Well, set to lead things off is Jacob Neely. He'll be hitting from the right side of the box. Pitching for the Canes, again, Tyler Gilreath. So we'll see what Neely can do against him. Obviously, both of these teams want to jump out early. Neely steps in, and the first pitch by Gilreath on the way. That one low and outside, 1-0.
Like you said, Scott, important for, each team wants to get off to a good start. No doubt a little bit of nerves in this one.
That pitch in there for a called strike to Neely, and the count goes even at 1. Neely, the center fielder for this Land O'Lakes team, steps back in. The count even at 1. The pitch. Swung on, and that ball fouled down the first base line. 1-2 now the count. Tyler Gilreath gets a new ball from the home plate umpire, and Neely heads back to the box.
Good job of Neely. He kind of waited on that curveball that time from Tyler Gilreath and tried to hit it to the opposite field. Hit it more towards the Cartersville dugout, and he's behind in the count 1-2.
Neely steps in. The pitch by Gilreath. That ball swung on and missed, and he goes down on strikes.
So a good start for Cartersville. Good job of pitching by Tyler Gilreath. First pitch ball comes back with 3 straight strikes, and to get the K on that pitch, he threw a good hard fastball inside to Neely. Tough pitch to handle, and there's 1 out here in the Florida first inning.
So Danny Sutton makes his way to the plate. Sutton, the starting third baseman, steps in, again a right-hander, and he takes the first pitch as a called strike, 0-1.
Gilreath, a good pitcher for Cartersville, like you said, Scott, the ace. We've seen him take the hill once already this season and threw a shutout back in the district tournament.
Gilreath misses outside that time, 1-1. Sutton looks down the third base line, gets the sign, and steps back in the box. Gilreath back up on the hill, gets the sign from Jamie Farr. Now the pitch. Swung on, that ball hitting the infield. Coming on to make the play is Scotty Morris. He grabs it, throws on to first in time. It goes 6-3 in your book, and the second out of the inning is retired.
So Scott Moore is quickly involved in this game. Scott, we saw him have such a great game yesterday, and he's had a good tournament overall. Routine ground ball there, makes a nice pickup, strong throw to first, and there's 2 outs here for Florida. As you'll see, these Florida kids come to bat. They're definitely the most impressive team, I guess, physically. They have some big guys on their team. Cartersville does too, but Florida has some impressive size.
The first pitch into Ricky Howroyd is high and away, 1-0. Howroyd steps back in. The pitch. That one misses outside as well, 2-0 to Howroyd.
Looks like Tyler's trying to stay away from the 3, 4, and 5 hitters, I guess, here for Florida. First 2 pitches to the 3-hitter have been away.
Howroyd steps back in. That one high and inside, 3-0. In this Florida area, down in the Tampa Bay area, that's one of the strongest baseball areas in the country. If you fielded a major league team just out of all-stars from that area, you'd probably win the series. That pitch in there for a called strike, 3-1.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder why the Devil Rays are so bad.
Yeah.
Not, good area to choose from, like you said, Scott, and they just can't win down there.
The pitch swung on, that ball fouled down the third base line. Nice grab that time by the
third base
coach. He bare hands that one.
No problem. That ball's hit a little, sharply, I thought, to grab it with your bare hand, but no problem. And Tyler Gilreath has battled back to make the count full.
Howroyd steps back in. The payoff pitch on the way. That ball in the dirt, and he walks him. So Howroyd aboard on first, and that brings Kaz Porowski to the plate. And, boy, he's got the size.
Kaz is a big youngster. Like you said, Scott, he has the size. And one of the bigger 14-year-olds I've ever seen.
We're going to have a courtesy runner now as Chad Harris comes off the bench to run for Howroyd.
Howroyd the catcher, so he'll go get his gear on and be ready for the bottom of the first. But as we're getting back to Porowski, Scott, he is very tall as you've seen, but he's not a tall, I guess you could say lanky, but he does look like he has some meat on his bones and a little muscle there. So I would imagine he could hit the ball a long way.
Gilreath steps off the mound, and Harris goes back to the bag. Gilreath with the pitch. That ball in the dirt, 1-0. The count to Porowski. Now, in junior league baseball, it's a little different than the high school level. You can have a courtesy runner any inning, and it doesn't just have to be for the pitcher or catcher like it is in high school. The pitch. That ball in the dirt, 2-0 to Porowski.
So far, Florida not showing any signs of moving the runner into scoring position. Tyler Gilreath has gone 2-0 to the second straight batter.
I think with a power hitter like Porowski in there, there's no sense moving him over and taking a chance of having him thrown out. That pitch swung on, hitting the gap. It's down for a base hit. Now runners will be aboard on first and second. So after a walk and a base hit, now Florida has a runner in scoring position for Jeff Bloomer, the pitcher, and he has an opportunity to help his own cause as he hits from the left side of the box.
Good pitch by Gilreath, but a good job of hitting that time too by Kaz Porowski. Got a fastball right about the knees and hit it hard into left field. And Florida, after 2 quick outs, now has 2 quick base runners, as you said, Scott.
Harris takes that lead off second. The pitch. That one misses outside, 1-0. Bloomer steps back in. The pitch. That one misses outside as well, 2-0.
Tyler Gilreath really trying to stay on that outside part of the plate and is just barely missing right now.
Gilreath, the right-hander, again gets the sign from Jamie Farr. The pitch. Swung on, that ball popped up and out of play down the first base line.
Jeff Bloomer clapped his hands on his way back to the box. He knew he barely missed that one. He got good aluminum on that one, just turned on a little bit too fast, and I think dipped his shoulder just a tad and got under it. If he's able to hit that ball on a line, it would have gone a long way.
Bloomer steps back in. The 2-1 count, and Gilreath wheels back around, and the runners go back to their bags. Gilreath back up on the hill. The 2-1 count for Bloomer as he steps in. The pitch. That one misses outside. 3-1 now. So Gilreath in danger of loading the bases. And Bloomer can sit and wait on this pitch. With the hitter's count, he steps in. That ball swung on, ripped down the first base line, and caught in right field. Great play by Jacob Roberts, and that'll do it. Florida gets it done off a walk hit. They strand two. We move to the bottom half of the first. No score from the Cartersville Baseball Complex.
I got a lefty up there.
And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week as we move to the bottom half of the first in the 2002 Southern Regional Final of the Junior League World Series. The winner of this, of course, will advance on to the Junior League World Series in Taylor, Michigan, to play 3 other regional champions from the United States and 4 international teams. So a big honor here. This is just the next level from the Little League World Series that you see on ESPN every summer. But it is, I guess, the same governing board.
Exactly.
Works both. We take a look at the Hurricane batting lineup as Scott Morris will lead things off for the Canes. He'll be followed by Benji Farr, Seth Malden, and Tyler Gilreath. Barrett Knaps will hit in the 5 spot. Michael Castleberry, the first baseman, will hit 6th. Jacob Roberts will hit 7th. Kevin Meredith, the second baseman, will hit 8th, and Jamie Farr, the catcher, will hit in the 9 spot. And Scott Morris, who's got some of the best speed on this team, will lead things off for the Hurricanes, hitting from the right side of the box.
Yeah, I looked back in the first. You know, Scott Morris has had a great tournament here, a great 5 days out here at the complex. Has done it, you know, obviously at the plate. He stole a lot of bases. He's played good defense, even pitched a little bit against Florida, actually, a couple of days ago, and he will look to lead things off here against Jeff Bloomer.
Morris steps in. He hits the first pitch and sends it into the infield. Coming on to make the play is the third baseman, Danny Sutton, and it's 1 up, 1 down for the Canes here in the first, and that brings Benji Farr to the plate.
So Cartersville going to have to go up against a lefty here today, and Jeff Bloomer. Just looking at him warm up, looks like it's a pretty good fastball and good command of his off-speed pitches. I mean, a lefty, you can have a lot of success if you can throw strikes.
Benji Farr was 0 for 3 today yesterday, but did drive in a run and reach base on a walk. First pitch swung on, and that ball popped up and out of play. So Jeff Bloomer putting him in the right place right now.
Yeah, Cartersville aggressive here. 2 pitches and 2 swings. But I guess if it's over the plate like that, you might as well hack.
Bloomer back up on the hill and gets the sign. The 0-1 pitch, and the left-hander delivers. That one misses outside, 1-1. A lot of the younger catchers are going with the new face mask, the hockey-style mask.
They say it's easier to get off, I guess.
The pitch. That one misses low and inside, 2-1. I tried on the high school teams this year. I didn't feel as padded as I did with the regular mask.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know if it's just the most comfortable thing.
Bloomer back up on the hill. The 2-1 pitch on the way. Swung on, that ball hit into the infield. Coming on to make the play is Breesler. He throws on to first, not in time, and the run is safe.
Tough play that time for Breesler. Just took a bad hop on him. He juggled a little bit and recovered nicely, but his throw over to Kaz Porosky not in time, and Cartersville has their first base runner of the game.
So the error is charged to Breesler. It'll be E6 in the book, and Cartersville has their first base runner.
So Farr takes his lead off first as Malden steps in.
First pitch in there for a called strike to Seth Malden, and Bloomer goes back up on the hill. Malden hitting from the right side of the box. The 0-1 pitch, and now he's going to throw on back to first. Bloomer, being a left-hander, should have a good pickoff move to first base.
Definitely got to be aware of that if you're a base runner today. He's thrown a lot of fastballs so far. We've only seen him throw that one off-speed pitch to Farr.
The pitch. Swung on that ball, ripped towards center field, going back toward the fences, Neely, and that ball gone. A 2-run shot for Seth Malden, and the Hurricanes are on the board first. They lead this one 2-0.
Seth Malden just got a fastball down and in, and he golfed it out of the ball yard. And as you said, Scott Cartersville leads it 2-0. That ball was sharply hit. Center fielder made a good effort that time. Jacob Neely just ran out of room back there. Kind of ran into the fence. I hope he's okay. Looks to be all right. And Cartersville leads it 2-0. You said yesterday in our broadcast, Scott, that the 3, 4, 5 hitters in this Cartersville lineup can all hit the ball at the ball yard, and we see evidence of that here in the first inning.
Well, Tyler Gilreath will now step in, hitting from the left side of the box against Bloomer. Time is called as Gilreath steps out of the box.
So Tyler will look to keep this inning going for Cartersville and hopefully have a big inning.
That pitch misses high and away, 1-0. One of the things that you can attribute some of the success of this junior league team is that they spend a lot of time looking at the Cartersville High School varsity team. I see them all at these games. The pitch in there for a called strike, 1-1.
Yeah, it really is a nice situation you have here at Cartersville. As you're coming up and playing in your middle school years, you're at the same park the varsity's playing at, and you get to see what those guys' work habits and how they play the game.
That pitch misses high and away, 2-1. Of course, the Cartersville High School team has won back-to-back AA state championships here in Georgia. This year, they were probably the best team in any classification. The stretch, the pitch. Swung on that ball, ripped toward right field. That ball in the gap and down for a base hit. Gilreath will turn the corner at first. He's on his way to second, and Gilreath slides into second with a double. So the Canes with a runner in scoring position bring Barrett Knaps to the plate, and we'll see what he can do.
Well, right now the Cartersville offense is really clicking. Tyler Gilreath hits the ball sharply into the gap, and we'll have a courtesy runner. I think that's going to be Harrison Sharp, number 11. He'll run for Gilreath. So Tyler continues to hit the ball hard. Seems every time I've seen him hit, come to bat, he hits the ball hard somewhere.
Barrett Knaps steps back in. Bloomer back up on the hill, checks his runner at second. Now the pitch. Swung on that ball, fouled back to the stop, 0-1. Bloomer bringing some velocity on the ball.
Yeah, he is. No doubt his fastball's working. He's getting it over. But you just got to give some credit to the Cartersville hitters right now. We'll see if Bloomer tries to maybe mix it up a little bit and keep them off stride.
Knapp steps in, the pitch. Swung on that ball, drilled toward right field. Going back toward the fence is Fugelsang. He makes the catch, and Sharp is going to be held up at second. There will be no tag.
Tough play that time for Harrison Sharp on the base running. The ball was so well hit. At first you think it's to the fence, and your first instinct is score, get around third and score. Then once you see the ball is going to be caught, it's kind of hard to get back to the bag and tag, so he did the right thing of staying close to the bag. He's still in scoring position.
Bloomer back up on the hill, checks his runner at second and Harrison Sharp, and now wheels off the mound. 2 outs here in the bottom half of the first inning. 2-0 your score. Cartersville on top of this one as Michael Castleberry steps in. First pitch misses away, 1-0.
This is a big batter for Bloomer. He'd like to get out of this inning just giving up that home run, the 2 runs, and keep the game close.
Sharp takes that lead off second. The pitch. That one misses high and away, 2-0 to Michael Castleberry. Castleberry would be available to pitch today if Gilreath got in any trouble, since Seth Malden went the entire distance yesterday. The stretch and the pitch by Bloomer. That ball swung on, hit down the third base line. Coming on to make the grab is Sutton. He fields it, throws on to first in time. That'll do it, but the Hurricanes get things done here in the first. Off an error, 2 hits, they score 2. We now move to the top half of the second. It's Cartersville 2, Land O'Lakes 0. welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching coverage of the 2002 Junior League Southern Regional Championship game. Land O'Lakes, Florida against Cartersville. And Land O'Lakes making their way to the plate. And set to lead things off is Ross Hughes, the left fielder. Also of good size.
Sure is.
This looks like a small varsity team out here.
They got some big guys.
Ross Hughes will step in, hitting from the right side of the box. The pitch by Gilreath on the way, fouled away 0-1.
Getting back to the size, I'll tell you, the first baseman, Porowski, he's like the prototypical size for an NFL quarterback, and he's 14 years old. There's GMs all over the country who would love to have him.
Hughes steps back in. The stretch and the pitch by Gilreath. That ball in the dirt, 1-1. Count even at 1, no one out here. Top half of the second. Cartersville leading it 2-0 on the scoreboard.
Oh, we got just a second, Scott. I want to ask you what you thought about Steve Spurrier's offense in the NFL last week at the Redskins. The fun and gun was rolling.
Yeah, they were. 1-1 pitch on the way. That misses outside 2-1. We'll see when Shane Matthews comes back and runs the offense.
It's basically the Washington Gators up there is what I call them. They have all kind of ex-Florida players.
The pitch swung on, and Hughes fouls that one down the third base line. 2-2. Very torn about that team this year. Spurrier up there and all the old Gators playing. You got to root for them.
And then the uniforms with the spears on the helmet, just like the Florida State Seminoles.
Yeah. Seminole-looking uniforms. And then you've also got the Redskins, who I've grown to hate throughout my life. We're living in D.C. for all those years.
You hate your home team. That happens sometimes.
The pitch swung on and missed, and he goes down on strikes.
Great curveball from Tyler Gilreath right there. Set up the hitter that time, Hughes, with a couple of fastballs, and then on the 2-2. Shows a lot of confidence in his off-speed pitch to be able to throw it 2-2. He threw it for a strike, and the batter Hughes swung over the top of it. One out here in the second.
So Jonathan Brewster steps in. The pitch swung on and missed 0-1, so Gilreath throws that one right by him. I guess the reason I never liked the Redskins, I was always a Steeler fan.
Okay.
And I guess a Colt fan growing up. So always had season tickets to the Colts.
Gotcha.
And then they moved to Indianapolis and just became the Steelers.
Yeah.
The pitch swung on, that ball hit into the infield. Scott Morris dives for it. It's just out of the reach of his glove. And it's a base hit for Jonathan Brewster.
So Brewster on board. Hits the ball sharply that time through the hole at short and third. And Florida has a base runner here in the second.
So Eli Jones steps in, the second baseman, with one out here in the second and a runner aboard. Gilreath throws back to first. The pitch swung on, that ball ripped toward left field. Barrett Knapp's going back for it and makes the catch. Knapp's fields it and throws on in.
That was a nice play by Barrett Knapp's. Sharply hit ball that time by the Florida hitter Jones, Eli Jones. Our vantage point here, we're looking right down the left field line, and that ball was tailing towards the line. I didn't think Knapp's would be able to get to it at all, and he covered a lot of ground and made a nice running catch.
Wes Fugelsang now hitting in the 9 spot, another good size kid.
Yeah, I bet these guys would have a good basketball team if they wanted to take the floor. A lot of height.
As I said, that's a great area for baseball, especially high school baseball. I know the teams down there are pretty good. Plus, you've got all the minor league teams and the and spring training for the Yankees and the Phillies. And Fugelsang steps in. The 0-1 pitch on the way. That ball swung on, hit into the infield, just out of the reach. Scott Morris grabs it. One hops and throws on to first in time. That'll do it. And Land O'Lakes gets it done off a hit. They strand one. We now move to the bottom half of the second. Cartersville 2, Florida 0. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. As we move to the bottom half of the second inning, Cartersville comes to the plate, and Jacob Roberts will lead things off. Roberts hitting out of the 7 spot for the Canes. Roberts 0 for 3 today, or 0 for 3 yesterday with a walk. The stretch and the pitch. Swung on and missed as he comes around. 0-1. He chased a high fastball that time.
Yep, Jacob tried to stop his swing. Unable to do so, and it's 0-1. Good high fastball that time by Jeff Bloomer.
Bloomer up on the hill, gets the sign from Halroyd, and now the pitch. Swung on and missed 0-2. Good looking pitch that time by Bloomer.
Really was, Scott. That's exactly what I was going to say. You know, that's the toughest pitch to hit coming from a lefty. That fastball that just stays right there on the outside part of the plate. You think it's going to come into you, but it never does. Tough to hit as a right-handed hitter.
Bloomer back on the hill to wind up the pitch. Swung on. He kind of sidearms that one, and popping it up is Roberts, and coming underneath it is Jacob Neely. So 2 up, 2 down for the Canes here in the second, and that brings Kevin Meredith to the plate.
Yeah, you're right. That was kind of an interesting delivery that time by Jeff Bloomer. Kind of dropped down to side 3/4 and probably all full sidearm, like you said. Couldn't really tell if he threw a curveball or just trying to throw it, give a different arm angle on his fastball. Nonetheless, he got the out.
Meredith steps in, the pitch. That one misses high and away, 1-0. Actually, I'm a little ahead of myself. There's only 1 out, what I was thinking. 1 up, 1 down for the Canes here in the second. Kevin Meredith stepping back in. The 1-0 pitch. Jeff Bloomer on the hill. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 1-1.
You know, one thing, Scott, and us watching this tournament and the games we've seen out here this week, I've really been impressed with the quality of baseball that's played. The pitchers, for the most part, throw strikes. You know, the defenses are good. Not a whole lot of errors. It's good, you know, fundamental baseball these teams play.
The pitch swung on and missed by Meredith, 1-2.
But they're all state champions from their own state, so I guess they'd have to be, you know, pretty good ball clubs to have made it this far.
And this is definitely the best talent we've seen here. I watched some of the district tournaments and the state tournaments, and these are by far the best teams I've seen. The pitch swung on, that ball ripped toward right field, and that ball's going to be in for a base hit as it's down for Meredith, just under the reach of Wes Fugelsang. And Cartersville has a base runner with 1 out here in the bottom of the second, and that brings Benji Farr to the plate.
Actually, this is going to be Jamie, his brother.
I'm sorry, Jamie Farr.
Part of the Farr clan that's on this team.
Both of them sons of James Farr, played on for the Tigers. The pitch swung on, that ball fouled back to the fence. I mean the Clemson Tigers.
There we go.
When they won the...
I was going to put it in there if you didn't, so I appreciate it.
Played on their national championship team.
That was a very good team he played on back in '81. I think everybody that played on the defensive side of the ball that year got drafted at the end of their college careers.
Throw on back to first.
And James was no slouch himself. He was an All-American on the offensive line at Clemson back in the Danny Ford era.
Farr steps in, the pitch. That one misses low and inside, 1-1. Wasn't your grandfather the administrative secretary that year too?
My granddad, yes. Don Wade was an administrative assistant back then. He actually came in '83, so he missed the championship by a couple of years, but got some ACC championship rings.
The pitch swung on and Farr rips it down the third base line in between the legs of Danny Sutton, and everybody's safe.
Sharply hit ball by Farr. He really stung that one right at the third baseman, Danny Sutton. Tough play for Danny. Just jumped up and got him right at the end.
Second error of the game now against Lando Lakes.
And now you bring up a pretty good hitter in Scott Morris, and 2 runners on base. Harrison Sharp back in the game as a courtesy runner for Farr. And Benji Farr will step on deck. Scott Morris had a pretty good swing his first time up, swung at the first pitch and just barely got under it and popped it up into short left field.
Morris will step back in now with a runner in scoring position with runners on first and second. The pitch swung on, and that ball fouled down the first base line, 0-1. Jeff Bloomer makes his way back up on the hill.
Get a look at Scott there. Kind of that Nomar Garcia par routine. Spitting on the gloves and redoing the snap on the batting gloves before every pitch. Bloomer checks Meredith, but nothing doing at second base.
Meredith taking that lead off second. The pitch by Bloomer swung on, that ball ripped toward left field. Going back toward the fence is Ross Hughes, and it's gone.
Actually, it's off the fence. I thought it was gone too, Scott.
Wow.
I thought it was gone too.
I did too. From this vantage point, it looked like it was gone.
But give the left fielder that time, Ross Hughes, a lot of credit. He grabbed the ball quickly and got it back into the infield and holds Scott Morris to an off-the-wall single.
2 feet below the top of the fence, and that was... Boy, the whole stand's erupted here. I thought it was gone.
I thought it was gone too.
As soon as they go down that line, I can't see anything else when everyone runs over there. But
right.
Boy, I thought that was gone.
I did too. I mean, I was with you, and I wouldn't have known that it was still in the park other than that the left fielder was throwing the ball back in. So Morris just barely misses a home run. Nonetheless, it's an RBI single.
And that brings Benji Farr to the plate.
Harrison Sharp had to hold it second. No fault of his. The left fielder, like I said, just got the ball back in.
Great play in the outfield by Ross Hughes to get that ball in quickly.
So Benji Farr steps up, Scott, and like you said, a base hit here can give you a 4-run lead, and you really think about blowing this game open.
The pitch to Farr misses high and inside, 1-0.
But then again, on the other hand, Florida did score 23 runs, I believe, in putting North Carolina out of this tournament yesterday. So they're a good offensive team.
Both of these teams very explosive. Bloomer back up on the hill. Checks his runner at second. The pitch. That one misses low and away, 2-0.
Good eye by Benji Farr on the curveball. Stayed outside, never came back across the plate for a strike, and he's way ahead of the count now, 2-0.
Farr steps back in. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 2-1. Benji Farr steps back in. Jamie Farr's position on second base is occupied by Sharp. That pitch swung on, driven toward right field, and it's going to fall in for a base hit. And the Hurricanes have the bases loaded as Sharp holds up at third.
So another base hit for Cartersville. Benji Farr hits the ball into right field. Good job of hitting on the outside pitch, and give some credit to the base runners, both Scott Morris and Harrison Sharp right there. They both froze thinking the ball might be caught at first, but once they realized that the right fielder that time, Wes Fugelsang, could not get it, they hustled to second and third respectively, and the bases are loaded now for some pretty big hitters in the Cartersville order.
The pitch to Seth Malden, and he fouls that one down the third base line. Of course, Malden 1 for 1 today with the home run back in the first inning, a 2-run blast.
Sure did, Scott. If he could repeat that feat here, then Cartersville would feel very good. Already leading at 3-0, and a chance to build on that.
The pitch by Bloomer. That ball in the dirt, 2-0. Malden, a very intimidating hitter. In fact, yesterday, the go-ahead run was scored on a RBI walk by him.
Yes. The team for Virginia pitched him very carefully, and as you said, they got a little too carefully, and they walked him.
Malden steps back in. The stretch and the pitch by Bloomer. That ball low and inside. 2-1.
Jeff Bloomer wanted that pitch. Looked pretty good from here, but like you said, Scott, the umpire thought it was a little bit low.
Malden steps back in. Bloomer gets the sign from Halroyd. The pitch. Swung on. That ball drilled into left field. It's down for a base hit. 1 run will come home. Another is going to turn the corner at third as Scott Morris breaks toward the plate and slides in. So a 2 RBI single for Seth Malden. He's driven in 4 runs today, and Cartersville has a 5-0 lead for Tyler Gilreath.
You said it, Scott. Seth Malden really is performing well these past couple days. What a great job he did on the mound yesterday, and like you said, at the plate. And today, what a day he's having to plate as he has driven in 4 of the Cartersville 5 runs. The other RBI goes to Scott Morris. Sharp scores easily, and Morris slides in there to make it 5-0, and that brings up another good hitter in Tyler Gilreath.
Gilreath steps back in. Bloomer back up on the hill. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 0-1.
Good curveball that time from Jeff Bloomer. One of the few times I can remember him starting a hitter off with an off-speed pitch.
And Gilreath steps back in, hitting from the left side of the box. Runners aboard on first and second. The pitch swung on. He launches that one toward right field. It's going back toward the fence, and it's a fair ball. Down for a base hit. 1 run will turn the corner at third. It's coming home. Seth Malden will hold up at third, and it's an RBI double for Tyler Gilreath.
Good job of hitting by Gilreath. That curveball just hung a little bit from Bloomer, and Gilreath smacked it towards the fence in right field. Scores far easily from second. Malden advances to third. And Tyler stands up at second with a double. He's 2 for 2 today. His second double as well.
6-0 already?
That will call a conference now, as the Land O'Lakes coach comes out of the dugout to talk things over with his starter, Jeff Bloomer. Before today, I think Bloomer had only thrown 1 inning so far. That's what I was told. 1 inning this tournament. Now, that could be wrong, I don't know, but that's what I had heard.
Well, it's kind of interesting how each of these 4 teams that reached the semifinals of this tournament elected to use their pitching. I know Cartersville saved their ace Gilreath for today, and I'm not sure how the other teams, some elected to go with their ace yesterday to get to the championship. So, you know, it's a tough decision as a coach. When you have, you know, 1 game to play with, do you gamble and try and save your ace for that last game, or do you go, you know, with your number 1 and get to the championship game and take your chances there? It looks like that might be what Florida did with if Bloomer's really only thrown 1 inning.
Well, Barrett Knaps will now step in with 1 out and 2 in scoring position. The pitch by Bloomer, that one in there for a called strike, 0-1. And just like we've seen time and time again, every single time a coach makes his way to the mound,
they throw a strike.
Pitch is strike.
You're exactly right. You brought it to my attention a couple of months ago. every level of baseball I've seen that happen, they throw a strike.
The pitch way inside to Barrett Knaps, 1-1. Bloomer making his way back up on the mound. Runners aboard on second and third for Cartersville. Gilreath and Malden on second and third respectively. Bloomer again gets the sign from Howroyd. The stretch, the pitch. Swung on that ball, popped up and out of play. 1-2. A big out here for Bloomer if he can get it.
Really is. You're down 6-0. The infield is drawn in for Florida. They really can't afford to give up any more, especially with a pitcher like Gilreath on the hill.
Knapp steps in. The pitch by Bloomer. And that one misses outside, 2-2.
Good curve from Bloomer. Always came in that back door for a strike 3. But Knapp's did a good job of laying off.
Bloomer back up on the mound, again getting the sign from Howroyd. And the 2-2 pitch on the way. Swung on and missed, and Knaps goes down on strikes for the second out of the inning.
Good fastball by Jeff Bloomer. Kind of on the shoe tops that time on Barrett Knaps. And like you said, that strikeout is the second out for Florida, and now a really big out. Cartersville has all the momentum, and Florida trying to snatch some of it back here.
Castleberry steps in, hitting from the right side of the box against Jeff Bloomer. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 0-1. Castleberry steps back in. Bloomer again gets the sign. The pitch. Swung on. That ball popped up. Coming underneath it is Sutton, and now calling him off was Bloomer, and the ball will hit the ground.
That's a tough play right there to pop up on a day like today where you have some clouds. That ball can get lost, you know, as we look up here. And it's not so much blue skies you see, but, you know, white clouds, that ball blends in. And I think the third baseman lost it for a second, so Jeff Bloomer tried to come in and make the play. And that's tough for him coming off the mound like that. But the good thing for Florida is that the count is 0-2 now to Castleberry.
So Castleberry steps back in, facing an 0-2 count with runners in scoring position. The stretch and the pitch by Bloomer. Swung on, he rips that ball towards center field. It's down for a base hit. 1 run will score, another is on the way. And the floodgates have opened here. 6 runs in the inning. And it's a 2 RBI single for Michael Castleberry.
You're right, Scott. The floodgates have opened up for Cartersville. They got 2 in the first, and now they have scored 6. And I think that's going to be the end of the day for Jeff Bloomer on the hill for Florida.
They're going to make the change right now, and we'll take a quick break as they bring in a relief pitcher, and it looks like it will be center fielder Jacob Neely, so they'll have to make the switch. And we'll tell you about those when we come back. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week. This is coverage of the championship game of the 2002 Junior League Southern Regional. We'll be right back after this. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week. And stepping in to pitch now for Florida is Jacob Neely, the center fielder.
They're changing all over on Scott. They faked us out. They put the pitcher, Bloomer, into right field now after they originally had him at first, and they took Kaz Porowski and they were going to move him to the outfield, but he will stay at first base. So Bloomer now in right.
I think Fugelsong has gone to center field, I believe.
Yeah, and Hughes will stay in left.
Okay, so simple changes here.
They danced around on us, but we're on top of it.
Wes Fugelsang has gone to center field, and Jeff Bloomer has gone to right field.
And Porowski stays at first.
That's the one problem with Junior League, Little League. When they make changes, your score sheet gets erratic.
Yes, it does.
Or your spotter sheet gets erratic. First pitch in to Jacob Roberts. Misses inside, 1-0.
One thing, too, you know, these teams really only have like 10 or 11-man rosters, so most of the guys that, when you sub, you don't so much sub a new player, you just change positions.
The pitch in there for a called strike, 1-1.
So Neely comes in and throws a pretty good curveball to even the count at 1 to Jacob Roberts.
That pitch in there for a called strike, 1-2.
Cartersville crowd thought that ball was a little high, but a good pitch from Neely, and he's ahead in the count at 1-2.
Neely back up on the hill. The 1-2 pitch on the way. Swung on and missed, and he goes down on strikes, and that'll do it for the Hurricanes in the second. But the damage was done as they get it done. Off 6 hits, 1 error, they score 6 runs, and they now lead it 8-0 as we move to the top half of the third. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week. We'll be right back after this. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week as we move to the top half of the third inning. And set to lead things off is Jacob Neely, the center fielder. And I guess now the pitcher.
Yep. Neely attempts to bunt on the first pitch, just trying to get something stirred up over there in that Florida dugout. And they're kind of shell-shocked right now here in the championship game. They're quickly down 8-0. We're only in the top of the third. They need to score a couple here this inning and kind of jump back in it.
Neely 0 for 1 today. Struck out swinging back in the first. Tries to lay down a bunt that time, and we'll see if he went around. They're going to appeal, and they did not. 1-1.
Yeah, I think he brought it back just in time, so the count is even at 1.
And Gilreath back up on the hill and gets the sign from Jamie Farr. The pitch, that one misses outside. 2-1 to Neely. This is the second time through the Florida batting order. The pitch, swung on, that ball hit towards center field. Going back is Benji Farr. He camps underneath it and makes the out. So 1 up, 1 down for Florida here in the third. 8-0 your score. Georgia on top of this one.
Yeah, the Cartersville offense is definitely rolling today. And if the Land O'Lakes team needs to get in it, just like I said a minute ago, they need to start scoring some runs here in a hurry. Because each passing out, time is running out on these guys.
Gilreath on the hill, the pitch. Swung on, that ball taken toward right field and out of play. 0-1.
They've had a couple of good swings on Gilreath, but give Tyler some credit. He's kept the ball down and done a good job here so far in his first 2 1/3 innings pitched.
Gilreath back up on the hill, the pitch. That one misses inside, 1-1. Well, baseball is a funny game. You can have the best team, you can have the worst team, and things can happen.
You're exactly right.
The pitch, swung on and missed, 1-2.
And it's like, you know, unique, and it's like no other sport. There's no clock, so the game's never over until, you know, the final out. Just ask the Atlanta Braves last night. They're up 2 with 2 outs and 2 strikes.
Had to win it in 13.
Exactly. There's
that pitch in there for called strike 3, and he gets him looking.
You're exactly right. That bottom of the ninth, like I was saying, Braves up 2, and Diamondbacks quickly scored 2 and sent it to extra innings. Good pitch by Tyler Gilreath right there on the outside part of the plate, and he continues to throw strikes and set down these Florida hitters with a relative ease. This is the third here in the order, Ricky Howroyd.
So Howroyd steps in, the pitch. That one misses high and inside, 1-0. Howroyd, the catcher, no official at bat today, walked in his only plate appearance back in the first. Howroyd steps back in. The 1-0 pitch on the way by Gilreath. That ball swung on, hit into the infield. Coming on to make the play is Scotty Morris. He grabs it, throws on to first in time. It goes 6-3, and just like that, Florida goes in order in the third. And we move to the bottom half of the inning. It's Cartersville 8, Land Lakes nothing. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week as we move to the bottom half of the third inning. And throwing for Florida is Jacob Neely. He came in to replace Jeff Bloomer, who went out early. Bloomer went 1 2/3, gave up 8 hits, no walks, gave up 8 runs, 7 earned runs, and struck out 1.
So Cartersville will continue to try and keep their offense rolling as it has in the first 2 innings, as they'll send Meredith to the plate here.
So Kevin Meredith set to lead things off for the Hurricanes here in the third. He takes the first pitch, pops it up in the infield. Coming underneath it is Brewster, and he puts it away.
So good job by Neely thus far. He's faced 2 hitters and gotten them both out. Now Jamie Farr will come to the plate. He reached on error his first time, hit the ball sharply right at the third baseman.
Jamie Farr hitting from the right side of the box with 1 out here in the third. 8-0 your score. Cartersville on top of this one. Farr steps in. The pitch. That ball in the dirt. 0-1. Farr 0 for 1 today, reached base back in the second on an error. And now he'll step back in. 1-0 pitch on the way by Neely. That ball way inside. Almost hit him. 2-0.
Jamie, I don't think it kind of goes unnoticed, but doesn't get enough credit that the job he does behind the plate defensively. He really blocks up the ball well. As I've seen him throw runners out, you know, a lot of teams are kind of scared around this Cartersville team because of Farr.
Farr steps back in. That one in there for a called strike, 2-1. Farr steps back in. The stretch and the pitch by Neely. That one high and inside, 3-1.
So Jamie can be selective here now. Ahead in the count 3-1 and kind of look for one to drive.
Farr steps back in. The pitch by Neely. That one in there for a called strike. Good looking pitch right down the pipe that time. And the count is now run full.
Yeah, good fastball from Jacob that time. Right at Farr's knees, and as you said, the count is full now.
The pitch. That one misses outside and he walks him. So tough break for Neely, and the Hurricanes have a base runner in Jamie Farr.
And Farr is on base for the second time today. And Harrison Sharp again will come on to courtesy run.
Scott Morris will now make his way to the plate. Actually, that's going to be Cody Nix.
Yeah. So Cody sees his first action as he steps onto the bag at first.
Scott Morris steps in. They throw on back to first, and Nix is safe. Nix, one of the 13-year-olds they brought up to play in the, I guess they brought him up at district time. So he's been with the team all through the postseason. Jacob Neely back up on the hill. This Cartersville team, I guess it's become customary to bring 3 13-year-olds up and then 12 14-year-olds. Scott Morris steps in. Runner aboard on first is Cody Nix. He takes the lead. The pitch. Morris looked like he squared around a bunt that time. Looks like he went around from here, but they're going to call it a ball. 1-0.
Third baseman on the grass, anticipating Scott trying to bunt the ball.
Neely back up on the hill, steps off the rubber.
Good speed air rover cars are right now at first, at the plate, and on deck.
Neely gets the sign. Now the pitch. That ball swung on and fouled down the third baseline. And again, another great grab by the coach over there.
Some of the best defensive plays we've seen today have been by that Florida coach. Hopped out of the dugout, made a nice barehanded stab right there.
Jacob Neely back up on the hill. Gets the sign from Ricky Howroyd. Stepping back in is Scott Morris. The pitch. That one misses inside, 2-1.
Florida crowd wanted that one. It was a little bit high. Kind of fell off the table right at the last second, but it's where it crosses the plate, not where the catcher catches it.
Morris steps back in. And Jacob Neely back up on the hill. The pitch. That one way inside, 3-1.
So Morris will be able to sit on a fastball right here, and if he likes it, he'll hack. If not, he'll wait for the 3-2 pitch.
Morris steps back in, and they throw on back to first where the runner is safe. This particular bracket has been dominated by a team from Lake Charles, Louisiana, or South Lake Charles, Louisiana, the last couple years. And they're in a different bracket this year. That one in there for a called strike. Count is now run full. I guess last year they were in it. 2 years ago, I think the team from Florida actually made it on. They beat the team from Texas. And then the year before that, it was South Lake Charles. There's a shot by Scotty Morris going back toward the fence. It's at the wall, and it's going to be in and out of the glove of Wes Fugelsang, and Morris is aboard on the error.
That's a tough chance for Wes Fugelsang. I think he thought that ball was hit a little bit better than it actually was at first as he went back to the fence. Did what you're supposed to do, and what you're taught to do as an outfielder, go back first and then come in on the ball. He just went back a little bit too far, and once he realized the ball wasn't going to leave the park, it was too late to make up the difference.
So that'll bring Benji Farr to the plate. Farr 1 for 2 today, reached base on an error in the first and singled in the second. Pitch by Neely, that one inside, 1-0. Seth Malden waiting on deck for the Canes with one out here in the third.
Malden's had a great day so far.
8-0 your score. Stepping back in for Cartersville is Farr, and he takes that pitch, a called strike, 1-1.
I think Benji was taking the whole way there. Kind of gave up on that pitch about halfway.
Farr steps back in. Neely back up on the hill. Cody Nix takes a leadoff second. Morris off of first. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 1-2 to Benji Farr.
So Benji now will have to be hacking on anything close behind 1-2.
The pitch by Neely, that one misses outside, 2-2. So Ricky Halroyd again fires it back to the pitcher. Good looking mask he's got there with the stars and stripes all over it.
Patriotic mask, exactly right. It's got, like you said, kind of a hockey looking mask.
Neely back up on the hill, the pitch. Swung on that ball, popped up. Coming underneath it is Danny Sutton, and he makes the out. So it's the second in the books this inning, still 8-0, and that brings Seth Malden to the plate. And Malden has been a one-man wrecking crew today.
Really has, Scott. Homered back in the first, and then a big single, 2 RBI single in the second inning.
Malden steps in with runners aboard on first and second with 2 outs here in the third. The pitch by Neely. That one in there for a called strike, 0-1. This is the first time he has seen Neely, though. All of his hits came against Jeff Bloomer.
Neely's got a good breaking pitch. He's thrown a lot and been able to throw it for strikes here.
The pitch by Neely. That one misses inside, 1-1. Malden steps out of the box, turns down the third base line, gets the call from head coach Danny Gilreath, and now steps back in. Runners aboard on first and second for this Cartersville team. The count even at 1. Jacob Neely with the pitch, swung on that ball, ripped down the first base line and foul. And the count will go to 1-2.
Please return that foul ball to the concession stand.
Seth Malden also had a good day yesterday, going 2 for 3 against Virginia with 2 runs driven in. Malden steps back in. Neely with the pitch. Swung on, he rips that one towards center field. It's going back toward the fence, and it's going to be in for a base hit. 1 run will score, another is on the way, and Malden is in with a stand-up double. It's a 2 RBI double for him, and it's now a 10-0 lead for Cartersville.
Wow, Seth Malden I think he might want to go to the World Series. What do you think, Scott? What a day he's having.
6 RBI afternoon so far.
3 for 3 with 6 RBIs. Wow.
Now Tyler Gilreath will step in, hitting from the left side of the box. And Jacob Neely back up on the hill. And Gilreath steps in, the pitch. That one high across his eyes, 1-0.
You hate to really say it too early in the game, but now you can start talking about it with a 10-run lead. If you're up by 10 after 5, the ball game's over. So Cartersville now, if they can get 6 outs without allowing a run, they're on their way to Michigan.
Going back to the bag is Malden. A wheel move by Jacob Neely. Neely back up on the mound, gets the sign from Ricky Halroyd. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 1-1.
Tyler's hit the ball hard today both times. He has 2 doubles as well as an RBI.
The pitch to Gilreath. He takes that one toward right field, but coming back is the second baseman, Eli Jones. He camps underneath it and makes the final out of the inning. But the Hurricanes get things done here in the third. Off an error, 2 hits. Off an error, 1 hit, 1 walk. They score 2, and they now lead it 10-0 as we move to the top half of the fourth. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week. And Florida will come to the plate here in the top half of the fourth inning, and Kaz Porowski will lead things off. One thing I've noticed, this Florida team, a lot of guys have different batting helmets.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they played on different teams during the regular season or maybe during their middle school career. That one right to the hands of Seth Malden, and a great play at third base right there.
Well,
a well-hit ball by Porowski.
Yeah, I've definitely been impressed with Porowski, the big fella from Florida. He's hit the ball hard each time he's been to the plate today. No reason to hang your head there, big man. You hit that ball hard. It was just right at the third baseman, Seth Malden.
Jeff Bloomer will now step in with 1 out here in the fourth. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 0-1. Many times these teams are all-star teams, and so sometimes you'll have guys playing at different high schools or different middle schools.
Right.
And they'll all come together. The pitch swung on and missed by Bloomer, 0-2. So Tyler Gilreath back up on the mound.
As you mentioned, some of these guys come from different schools. I guess one encouraging thing for Cartersville in the future is that most of these guys are Cartersville middle school or high school students.
That pitch swung on and missed, and he goes down on strikes. 3 pitches by Tyler Gilreath, and he retires the second out of the inning.
Some of these guys will be going on to the high school this coming school year. Some will stay at the middle school. But the future definitely bright for Cartersville baseball.
This team has only lost 14 games this year, and they've won over 50. And a lot of times when they played in those East Cobb tournaments, that ball swung on and fouled down the third base line. Foul, 0-1 for Ross Hughes. And as I was saying, a lot of times their only losses came in East Cobb tournaments where you've got all-star teams from around the area, and there's no shame in losing in one of those.
No, and especially any team from East Cobb, they always have great teams year in, year out.
Tyler Gilreath with the pitch. He comes around, 0-2.
Which, as you were saying earlier, they really almost dominated really going through this district and state tournaments. Had some anxious moments here at the regional, but that's what you would expect.
The pitch by Gilreath, that one in the dirt, 1-2, as he tries to throw that one a little off the plate and get Hughes to chase something outside the strike zone. Gilreath back up on the mound. Ross Hughes steps back in. And Gilreath steps off the mound. Hughes, another good-looking athlete. I'm real impressed by the size of this team. That one in there for a called strike 3, and he gets him looking, and Florida goes in order for the second inning in a row, and we now move to the bottom half of the fourth. Cartersville 10, Land O'Lakes nothing. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex. You're watching the Channel 4 Baseball Game of the Week as we move to the bottom half of the fourth inning, and Barrett Knapp's set to lead things off for the Hurricanes. He's 0 for 2 today. Flew out to right field in the first and struck out in the second. Knaps will step back in, hitting from the right side of the box, facing Jacob Neely. Neely's done a pretty good job on the hill. He inherited an 8-run deficit, but has done a pretty good job of shutting down these Cartersville batters. In there for a strike, 0-1.
Yeah, tip your hat to Jacob Neely. Like you said, Scott, he was kind of dealt a tough hand and is coming in and done an admirable job for Florida, holding Cartersville at bay.
The pitch to Knaps, that one misses outside, 1-1.
But it should be said, you know, I said an inning ago that with a 10-run lead, Cartersville was 3 outs away from the World Series.
Barrett Knaps steps in. The pitch, that one high, 2-1. Barrett Knaps, I don't know, I guess his football season is on hold right now.
Yeah. I don't think he minds too much.
The pitch, swung on and missed, 2-2.
I think Coach Barden can understand. It's kind of a special situation you have. I'd kind of like to see Little League, though, maybe bump up their schedule. You know, you always see the Little League World Series at the end of August, and that is, you know, these days really into the beginning of your football season.
Jacob Neely back up on the hill to pitch. That one misses outside, 3-2. Michael Castleberry waiting in the wings for Cartersville. As Barrett Knaps steps back in. With the count full, the payoff pitch in there for called strike 3, and he gets him looking.
Good curveball that time from Neely, and got Barrett Knaps looking.
Barrett Knaps goes down on strikes, and that brings Michael Castleberry to the plate.
Castleberry, a big 2-run single his last time to the plate.
Castleberry 1 for 2. He grounded out to third back in the first. First pitch misses away, 1-0.
So right now the goal for the Florida team is to prevent Georgia from scoring any more runs and then go get at least one themselves to prolong this game.
The pitch in there for a called strike, 1-1. Castleberry again turns down the third baseline, gets the sign from head coach Danny Gilreath, and now steps back in the box. The stretch and the pitch. That one in the dirt, 2-1.
Jacob Roberts on deck for Cartersville. If one of these two should reach, I think we'd see Cody Nix bat in the 8th spot in the Cartersville order.
The pitch to Castleberry, and he rips that one through the infield and down for a base hit. Cartersville has a base runner now with 1 out here in the 4th. And making his way to the plate is Cody Nix.
Actually, Jacob Roberts.
I'm sorry, Jacob Roberts. Cody Nix waiting on the on-deck circle. Nix will be hitting for Kevin Meredith, assuming Roberts doesn't hit into a double play. Roberts steps in. Neely throws on back to the bag. Jacob Neely back up on the hill. Gets the sign from Halroyd, and now he hits Roberts, so the Canes now have runners aboard on first and second. Tough break for Neely, and now he's got a pitch to Cody Nix. He probably has the smallest strike zone of anybody in the league.
I see little Cody hit, comes up there left-handed. Bat's as big as he is, but he controls it well, and I've seen him hit the ball hard before. Good little defensive second baseman.
Nix steps in, hitting from the left side of the box. Jacob Neely on the hill, the pitch. That one misses inside, 1-0.
Good for Cody to get an at-bat here in this Southern Regional Championship game.
The pitch by Neely. That one misses inside, 2-0.
And as you said, Scott, Neely having a hard time finding that small strike zone that Nix provides.
Neely back up on the hill, the pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 2-1. Neely back up on the mound. The pitch to Nix. That ball swung on and popped just over the head of the third baseman, and it'll be caught by the left fielder, Ross Hughes. Great Athletic effort right there to come under the ball.
Really was a great play by Hughes. Nice running catch. Came sprinting on to make the play. Now Harrison Sharp will get to bat. Actually, Scott, that was Chad Harris out in left field that time for Florida that made the play. He came in for Ross Hughes, so give Harris credit on the catch. You said, nice running effort. I didn't think Harris would be able to get to it, but he made a nice running grab. And there's 2 outs now in the bottom of the 4th, and Harrison Sharp will see his first at bat of the day.
So Sharp will step in, hitting from the right side of the box. That change got me by surprise. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't either. I saw him turn around in that number 1 on his jersey.
Neely back up on the mound. Sharp steps in the pitch. That one high and inside, 1-0. Runners aboard on first and second for Cartersville. 2 outs here in the 4th. And Sharp steps in. Sharp trying to give the Canes a little insurance. The pitch. That one misses outside, 2-0. If Sharp were to get on, we'll be back to the top of the order with Scott Morris. Neely back up on the hill. Neely gets the sign, the pitch. That one in there for a called strike, 2-1.
Is the success that Neely has had kind of makes you wonder why he wasn't the starting pitcher in this game for Florida.
Neely with the pitch, throws it back to the fence, and now the runners will advance. So you've got 2 in scoring position, and a 3-1 count coming up for Harrison Sharp. Danny Gilreath is saying, if that thing's not a watermelon,
you're not swinging.
You're not swinging. So Neely back up on the mound. Gets the sign from Ricky Howroyd. The pitch. Swung on that ball, ripped toward right field. And making a great catch out there was Jeff Bloomer, and that'll do it. But the Hurricanes get things done here in the 4th off a hit batter. They strand 2, and we now move to the top half of the 5th inning. It's Cartersville 10, Land O'Lakes nothing. And welcome back to the Cartersville Baseball Complex, top half of the 5th inning. And the first pitch from Tyler Gilreath is in the dirt, 1-0.
Jonathan Brewster at the plate for Florida. Florida needs 1 run to prolong this game. Pitch from Gilreath in there, and the count will now go even at 1-1. So Cartersville 3 outs away from a trip to Michigan in the Little League World Series. As Gilreath's 1-1, the slider misses away. It's now 2-1 to Brewster. They're up 10, and if they could hold on, keep Florida from scoring here, they would invoke the mercy rule. That ball hit sharply at Scott Morris, shortstop, up with it. Throw one to first. Nice scoop by Castleberry at first, and there's now 1 out here in the 5th, and Cartersville 2 outs away from Michigan. Nice play by Michael Castleberry, and a nice play by Scott Morris. That will bring up Eli Jones for Florida. Gilreath goes into his motion. Fastball in there, strike 1 to Jones. Cody Nix remains in the game as the Cartersville second baseman. Gilreath delivers the 0-1. Curve catches the outside part of the plate. It's now 0-2 to Jones. Time is called there by the third base umpire. I think something may have been said from the Florida dugout. But he handles the situation, and we're ready to play ball again. Gilreath's 0-2 pitch misses a little bit away, and it's now 1-2. The 1-2 from Gilreath. Curve, whoa, barely missed. I was ready to ring him up. Home plate umpire thought otherwise. Pretty good off-speed pitch by Gilreath. Must have been a little bit low and away. So Jones steps back in there with a 2-2 count. Gilreath's fastball just barely misses again. Cartersville Crad wanted that call. And now the count has run full to Eli. The full count pitch from Gilreath is hit through the hole at short and third into left field for a base hit. So Eli Jones is aboard here with one out in the top half of the fifth. And that will bring Wes Fugelsang to the plate.
So Wes Fugelsang.
Chad Harris is going to bat.
Chad Harris.
He came in for Fugelsang.
So Harris coming in to hit for him in the 9 spot. And Florida continues to have a little life. They need 1 run here to keep the game going. The pitch by Gilreath, that one misses inside, 1-0. There's a 10-run mercy rule after 5 innings in Junior League Baseball.
Cartersville very close to putting it to use here.
That pitch misses 2-0.
Well, it looks like the strike zone's kind of shrunk here as we've gone to the top of the fifth. And Gilreath's throwing some pretty good pitches that are just barely missing. So 2-0 to Harris.
2-0 the pitch to Harris. Swung on that ball, hit into the infield. Coming on to make the play is Scotty Morris. He grabs it, gets the out at first, and it goes 6-3. And the Canes are now 1 out away, but Florida has a runner in scoring position with 2 down here in the 5th.
Good play by that time by Scott Morris. Did the right thing. Knew he had no play at second base. Made a good play, a tough hop, almost jumped over his head, and if not for his strong arm, he would not have been able to get Harris at first, and just got him by a step. So now Cartersville is 1 out away from the World Series. Jacob Neely now comes to the plate.
Jacob Neely trying not to be the final out of their season here. And that's what Florida has to do now, just take it 1 runner at a time.
Well, Neely is going to be pinch hit for, much to his dislike. He will go down and coach first, and the pinch hitter is going to be number 8, Shane Stone.
Number 8, Shane Stone.
Get him a chance to get into the ball game here.
So Shane Stone will now come in to face Tyler Gilreath.
A little confusion here, I think. Don't really know what.
I don't think Shane Stone has been in the game yet today.
So it shouldn't be a problem to put him in. Let's see if we can.
I think everybody has to play and
maybe get an at bat.
Maybe get an at bat, and so this is the time for Stone to get in. Well, if Stone gets a hit, most likely that run on second will score,
prolonging the
game.
Well, I don't know what's going on. I think they're waving Neely back. Stone is not happy.
So, well, now Neely is going to hit. So after a little confusion, we finally got it together. Stone didn't look very happy.
No, he didn't. Oh, I can understand. I mean, you're in the chance to go to the World Series and chance to get into the ball game, and as you step to the plate, you're told you're not. I'd be upset too. Really don't know what the reasoning for that is.
At bat for Florida, number 2, Jacob Neely.
I don't know why you couldn't sub there. They're in there for a called strike. 0-1 for Tyler Gilreath. So Jacob Neely steps back in, but then Kyle, we've probably done 100 games, and every time we see something new we've never seen before.
That's right. That's the great thing about baseball. You see something you've never seen before.
Second pitch misses outside, 1-1 the count. So Gilreath goes back up on the hill, getting the sign from Jamie Farr, and Neely steps back in. 2 outs here, top half of the 5th, 10-0 your score. Cartersville on top of this one. The pitch, that one way inside, 2-1. And the runner's going to stay at second.
Not sure what the base runner that time, Eli Jones. I think maybe he thought that it hit his batter, and that's why he didn't run. Probably just being careful, not wanting to make the last out at third base, which I fully understand.
The 2-1 pitch on the way. That one in there for a called strike, 2-2. Great breaking ball that time by Tyler Gilreath.
Well, Cartersville 1 strike away from moving on.
Gilreath back up on the hill. The pitch. Swung on, that ball taken towards center field. Going underneath it, and it will come down for a base hit. A run will turn the corner and come home, and Florida has stayed alive.
Wow. That's huge. That's pretty clutch hitting that time out of Jacob Neely. Give him a lot of credit. 2 outs, 2 strikes. He makes an out. The season ends, but he brings in Eli Jones, and now Danny Sutton will come to the plate. Tough break for Cartersville and Tyler Gilreath. That ball wasn't hit, extremely hard, but just hit in the right place.
Danny Sutton now comes to the plate. He's 0 for 2 today, grounded out to short back in the first, and struck out looking in the third. We'll see what he can do here with a runner on and 2 outs in the fifth. 10-1 your score, Cartersville on top. The pitch. That one in there for a called strike. The runner goes on to second and will be in there with a stolen base. So Jacob Neely's got to be your MVP out of Florida today.
Yeah, exactly right.